We appreciate you staying with us on the program, or live in Benin City, Nigeria. But quickly, let's just give you an insight again into what our focus will be on the discussion. We're looking at 2020, the major events this year that have shaped Nigeria, and of course, by extension, the entire globe. A lot of persons have said 2020 is one year that people across the world will not forget in a hurry because of the very marked differences between this year and the years prior. And some are now saying they are taking a cue from all of the things they've experienced this year, whether as individuals or as a country, to determine how they want to go into 2021. But don't forget that the pandemic is still here, and going into 2021, that's one of the many issues that the entire world will still have to grapple with. Let's not even talk about the ASU strike, for example, that lasted between 9 and 10 months. And that, again, has redefined the education landscape, especially as it has to do with university education in this country. This has been the year of turbulence for Nigeria, no doubt about that. But again, it's not the kind of turbulence we want to go into 2021 with. Therefore, the question will be, what exactly must we do to avert having the same? Of course, some of the issues are as they say, act of God. Others are, maybe for want of better words, the fact that proactive leadership was not brought to bear as it was expected. But we want to help beat context and perspective into this discussion this morning. From my immediate left is engineer Mike Eke, is a public affairs commentator. Thank you for joining us on the program. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Next to him is Honorable Agarese Idubo, a brilliant public affairs analyst. We want to also thank you as well.
Thank you very much
for coming to join us on the program. Okay, let me begin with you, Engineer Mike Eke. Of course, we have all been in Nigeria. We have seen 2020 from the very beginning, and it ends today. When you look at this year, would you say there was anything adverse that we experienced, that you expected? Did anything take you by surprise? Of course, coronavirus took the world by surprise. But aside coronavirus, what else took you by surprise?
The end-SARS protests took on another big surprise.
Okay.
So, but the COVID-19 was the biggest. In the first case, here we found ourselves that you wash your hand when you are not even expecting food. Every minute you wash your hand when you're not expecting food. So,
in other words, you wash your hands more often than you eat.
Yes. Normally, in those days, once you want to eat, you wash your hand.
Okay.
But this COVID-19 now is, it has not taught us that we wash our hand when you are not even expecting any food. So, we got by a very big surprise, and it's real. It's real, and it's still ravaging. But we are still, we are just on God's divine intervention to reduce it. It's still ravaging. So the COVID-19 has reduced a lot of personality, has reduced economic. In short, it has affected everything. Think about Nigeria.
You talked about the end-SARS protest.
Yes.
You know, when it started, it was a way of protesting the, as it were, extrajudicial killings, and of course, by extension, the excesses of the now defunct State Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS.
Yes.
That has been disbanded, we understand. Of course, there's now SWAT in place of SARS, even though that, again, is another layer of conversation in itself. But let's also not forget that the protest now evolved over time to become one that called for, as it were, an overhaul of governance. Those issues that were raised, for example, they talked about the fact that Nigeria should have constant power. We must fix education, we must fix health, and so on and so forth. Those issues are still there. Those issues are coming with us into 2021, for example. Did that protest even make any impact, any meaningful impact?
Yes, well, that protest made a lot of impact in Nigeria, because it shook the government, federal government, put them to a standstill. That yes, that you cannot take Nigeria again for granted. You see, look at this education sector. A lot of graduates pass out every year after youth service. No work. Then the increase in food items is rising every day. Cost of living is outrageous. Because I remember in those days, after my youth service, my salary was just 500 naira, and I was living in a room apart of 50 naira. And then, but now you cannot compare that time now. That was 1980-81. Now look at it, and at that time, you see that even the children are going to school well. And when you graduate, you can get work. But nowadays, graduates are passing out in thousands in Nigeria, no work. Graduates are selling pure water at the bottom of fridge in Lagos. So what do you say? You cannot spend your money on your children after 5 years graduating. You still come to the house, you feed him, you give him pocket money, you still pay for his transport. So the thing became very awesome. And he said, where are we going? Where are we going? Where is Nigeria going? And so the thing now became worrisome to the extent that the police mattered the SARS, and the stop Assange again came in. So the insecurity became worse. And this thing has a dimensional area. It has remote and immediate causes where the thing started.
Okay, I want to turn to Alasedu, but this year, for example, a lot of political analysts have said that for the first time, Nigeria has seen prison breaks on a scale that had never before witnessed in this country. In fact, much of the criminality in Edo State and other states, for example, are now being attributed to that incident. I mean, or those incidents of prison break, particularly in the states of Edo. How much of sense have you been making of this development?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me react a little bit to my brother's comments on graduates being produced by universities.
And not finding jobs.
Yeah. You see, in some civilized climes, you produce, you see, when supply is more than demand, definitely there will be a problem.
Yeah.
Those days, when you produce graduates, there are jobs waiting for the graduates to, grab. But now you have times 50 of the universities we had at that time. This country has close to 200 universities. Everywhere.
Public and private.
Everywhere you have universities. So definitely there must be a problem. There must be a problem because they are producing people for no market. So there's no way every graduate that is being produced from a university with the system now. Those days you can count the universities that we had. But now you produce thousands of graduates every year. Where would they work? So that brings us back to the issue of technical and vocational education, where people can naturally become independent of government. Everybody wants a white-collar job. But if you have this kind of training that prepares you for tomorrow, you can create your own future. But the problem we've always had is depending on government for employment. And there are several Nigerians who have created their own future by trying to get involved in some vocational trainings, which today, of course, is the hub of our economic system now. But having said that, yes, jailbreak. I have my own misgiving about the jailbreak because if there's no compromise, it's not too easy to just go and break into a correctional center. So I have a belief, I may be wrong, that there must be some compromises here and there. Because you cannot just
like an insider compromise, for example.
Say again?
Like an insider compromise. That what you're insinuating?
Of course, yes. Because you cannot just, there is no, and there has been no evidence that anybody was injured among the staff.
Okay.
We are hearing that they came in, there was a surge, they bored hole everywhere, and they came in. No evidence that they came in and they fought with anybody, and they just easily people were jumping fences and all that. So for me, I think we need to look much more inwards. We need to get reconscientized. Some of these persons also took part in the NSAS. Some of these persons who were supposed to create environment to make it impossible to break. I'm sure some of them were not happy too with the system. They just said, let us not allow ourselves to, if a man is not happy with his job and he sees an opportunity to just support somebody who is coming to fight, you know, but I think we need to, it has not helped us. Let me say this to you. Some of those who ran away from the centers maybe had about 1 month or 2 months to go. Now, they have not, some have not gone back as requested by government. And if they arrest them now, to be a fresh trial.
Yeah.
So why will anybody who had about 1 month?
So it was counterintuitive for such persons to have escaped.
I mean, I just said, I mean, why will you, if you were 7, 10 year jail term and you have done 9 years, why will you not run away? I mean, so for me, it was some criminals that ran away. We also read, you know, and heard what they have done in town after they ran away from the centers. But again, I've always told people, okay, I mean, those who ran away, for instance, now, if they ran for safety, fine. But they ran away to unleash mayhem in the society. If they ran away, okay, fine, oh, thank God, I've gained freedom. Let me run away and go and become a better person.
Whatever you're running to.
Yes, fine. But some of them ran away to further unleash mayhem in the society, which to me is not too nice. So that is a total, I don't know how to describe that, but basically, maybe I'm not saying it was nice, but if anybody ran away and ran away to safety to become a better human being, maybe fine. But to run away and go and unleash mayhem, terror on people, and that to me is not nice. So that's where I disagree with all of that. The NSAS thing, yes, NSAS has opened up a new vista for us because, yes, it was a protest that was meant to achieve an objective, but by the time it was hijacked, let me tell you this, I quarreled with youth leaders as a former national president of Youth of Nigeria. I told my friends, I said, my friend, you were saying that the protests were hijacked. Who hijacked the protests? Who? The same youths. The old men, I mean, my brother would not go and hijack a system now, for instance. It's your peers, it's the same youths. So I said to them, by the time those other youths came to hijack, you should have come out and said, these are not our people. Then you should have differentiated between your own protest and their own protest. But now you allowed the two to go together. Then it became for me difficult to say the youth of this country were not the ones who did what they did. Because if anybody infiltrated your wings, I mean, you should have said, no, yes, we are protesting, this is our objective. These people, we don't know.
Right.
And you fight them and drive them out of your ranks. But to have allowed them to come and do like they were with you, it becomes a little bit difficult to say you were not part of them. But I won't say this. NSAS has produced some results. It has. Like you mentioned now, it has also told our leaders that governance in this part of the world has been a very major issue. Our main problem in Nigeria is leadership, which has over time been a big problem. Leadership has been a very major problem. Now, most of these things that have happened is just, to my mind, leadership failure. ASU went on strike for about 9 months now. Now they are going to go back to work. Right. So why did you allow them go on strike for 9 months? These things they were asking you to do for them, which you are now going to do. Why wouldn't you have done all of this at the very beginning? And you now make it, unattractive to go to a public university. Because if you don't know that you enter university in 2020, for instance, believing by 2024 you'll be out of there, and we're still there in 2027.
Yes.
I mean, that makes a lot. That makes a lot of. It makes you feel so bad. So for me, I think government must try to do many things to ensure that our system runs in a manner that there will be Nigerian universities. I don't know how many have been quoted in the world or even Africa.
By way of ranking.
Yeah,
right?
by way of ranking. I don't know. Because,
I think a couple of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, University of Ibadan popped up, but it was around 600 and something in the ranking. And we were told that was the first time a Nigerian university would be ranked globally.
So why? So these are issues because they don't even trust what we do here. How can Nigerians leave Nigeria and go to school, okay, I won't mention the country now, in lesser African countries that have stability? So I think we must get, all of us must get reconscientized to rethink Nigeria. Let us rethink Nigeria. And that is where we are going to get to very soon, where we are saying, let us restructure. We must rethink Nigeria. Is this the Nigeria of our dream?
I'm going to take you up on restructuring,
yes.
and something else which you mentioned, education, because this education is the bedrock of development. Whether or not we appreciate that as a government in this country leaves a question mark. But I'm going to take you up on those two issues very soon. But let's talk about security, Engineer Eke. Insecurity has been a challenge more than ever before in 2020 in Nigeria, both here, Benin City, Edo State, where we live, and everywhere else across the country. If it's not violent bunch of headsmen, it is bandits. In some other cases it is insurgents, and then of course you have kidnapping that has become, as somebody once referred to it, subsector of the entire crime industry, as it were. These are some of the issues that have not been addressed. Yes. And we are going into 2021. Will the change in calendar help address these issues, or are we supposed to be taking proactive steps as a government to fix it?
Yeah, well, as my friend has earlier said, the problem we have now in this country is leadership, sir. Leadership. And we talk about this jailbreak. And jailbreak happens just not like that. You can't just walk to a lion's den and just take that lion, just like that. If there is no an arrangement from the guardian. So as he said before, the jailbreak that happened now has opened up another security challenge, especially in Nigeria, Edo State in particular. Most people that left that place, they went back to their normal activities.
Which is crime?
Yeah, to the crime. So most of the equipment they got from the police stations, they use it because they cannot just keep it and looking at it because of the blood is in their character, the blood is there. And how this blood came, there is remote causes of it, right from the family background, the church, the school. Now you say in those days, if church cannot change you, change church. If school cannot change you, change your, but you cannot change your family. So the background, the orientation given to a child from the youth, you can't imagine a child of 6 years. At 6, he's already carrying wheelbarrow at ring road. How he's stretching for himself at 6 years. So at that period, education is lost. You can't see an educated child now. Now that you see him carry gun or is a criminal. So that is insecurity. In the first case, 2015, the security was not as worse as this. Something led to it because of the election problem. So those things that were prepared at that time, 2015, and the man said, carry go. That is our former president. So most of those things was hung out. And by the time the man said now, and there is no place to disburse those areas, just to cover some areas, which I don't want to give details. So those people now where do we go? Even though after settlement, they cannot still go back to where they are. So they spread over, and we call them men, and we call them kidnapping, we call them armed robbery. So the thing is galloping. Every year is galloping. Every day is galloping. And the world that is in Benin now, recently now, is worse. We thank God for the police, we thank God for the governor that they are doing their best. Right? But every day, there is 3 or 4 people, like in my area last night, 3 days ago, these rival people have been killing each other. You can't sleep with your 2 eyes closed. Shops are not open. By 6 o'clock, everybody is running a task. In this town, which I used to know before, a peace, if you are in anywhere, you said you want to relax, it's Benin City. You come to Benin, you have peace of mind. But now, it has taken a new dimension. You are coming to Benin, you are worried. 6 o'clock, you cannot move out of where you are. So the security is getting worse. And the government is trying, but they need to put more effort. by these vigilante groups informations to arrest some of these security.
There's something you mentioned that's a bit interesting. Of course, you are not the first to make that sort of allusion. The fact that our electoral processes are always associated one way or another with criminality. And then you're wondering how absurd or even crazy it sounds when in a country like Nigeria at the turn of the 21st century, we're still associating electoral processes with criminality. I mean, where is it written that this level, this magnitude of crimes would have to come with elections?
Yes, you see, the thing is that you look at in those days when Edo State or Bende State was in Western region, this thing started with Operation Wete in Ibadan. And that Operation Wete now graduated, and there are people in group inside that Operation Wete.
You won't know what that means.
Huh?
He won't know what that means.
You don't know that.
At least on account of history. Yes, I'll be able to read it out.
That Operation Wete now graduated.
Yes.
The 1983 election in Edo State, for instance, it was a hay bomb. One, they were not even using petrol, they were using egg to burn houses. So that thing still graduated, and that's where we are.
So there has always been violence side by side elections.
Yes, it's graduating. And there is no how to stop it because the politicians, you see, the only area this thing can be reduced that this Senate, House of Rep, House of Assembly, made them, what do you call it?
Part-time?
Yeah, a part-time. So people will not be killing you.
More like voluntary service.
So voluntary service. Because by being a carpenter, in that 19th now code, that everybody was afraid because of the coup, so everybody was afraid. But some people dare it. And then, okay, since that time now, those carpenters, or that now they have gone to school, they become they are lawyers, they are recirculating themselves inside the house because the money that is there is too enormous. At times, somebody sit down at the end of the month, got 35 million, when somebody cannot take just 1 million school. So they did everything to make sure they go back. And how do you go back? You must do this, you must do that. Blood must roll. Because you not allow your opponent to beat you. So that is where the criminality is graduating. And you need to stop. Until the government said, look, if you want to be a senator, part-time, if you go there, one time you sit, maybe 1,000. Nobody will be interested. Then the killing will stop. The vandalism and the hooliganism will reduce.
Yeah.
All right? But otherwise, we see going. You can imagine what they do. Some of the senators, they don't even sit. Some in America, there are some Germany, and there
are senators in the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yes. So apart from that, again, wherever they came, they do what is called, it is before now. We are not hearing about pardon. There is a lot of pardon. They add this and this, and they make sure the president, they give him the president IMF condition that this is what we are going to do. If you don't pardon it, we are not going to submit because part of the pardon, it belongs to them.
So hopefully we find a way to run circles around this. But I wanted to talk to Orisha Dubo about a statement that was made by Ali Udome, of course, senator from Borno State, very recently, when he stood up on the floor of the Senate to address not just his colleagues, the other senators, but in particular the Senate president. And he told him that they are the Senate first off to serve Nigerians, and as such, it is incumbent upon them as senators to ensure that they do all within their powers, within the limits of the Constitution, to deliver for Nigerians. But more interestingly, he said that God will ask them, all of them senators, as to what they did as far as insecurity is concerned. However, he said the Senate president will be in front by the time God comes asking what exactly the Senate has done to fix insecurity. And he went ahead to make an incisive statement when he said that the Senate has yet to exhaust all its options as far as the Constitution is concerned. Keep in mind that Senator Ali Udome is a member of the APC as well, so this is not going to be a matter of PDP versus APC or APC versus PDP. What it means is everybody is now beginning to realize that security is everybody's business. Some people are saying, well, maybe he went too far by certain things he said, because some people are now saying that he was probably implying that a move could be made for impeaching the president. And somebody asked a simple question off the record. What difference does it make, for example, whether the president is impeached or not?
Are you asking me?
Of course I am. Because it will appear it's a distraction from the real issues, because Nigerians are saying, let's deal with insecurity, and then you're having back and forth. Because even at the House of Representatives now, it's a big conversation going on there, causing a lot of conflict.
The chief security officer of the country is the president. Is the president. Is the number one security officer of the country. I mean, if the service chiefs, so to speak, are not delivering, let me ask you this question. Okay, let me make this contribution. Sambisa Forest. Is it in the moon? Sambisa Forest is physical. Are you saying to me that Sambisa Forest that has become a recurring word,
Yes.
they cannot cut down the place
Yes.
and deal with the forest? It has become a loose end. Every Sambisa Forest, as if it's a myth, as if it's somewhere else. Sambisa Forest is in Nigeria. And we have service chiefs, combatants, whose salaries have been paid by my money and your money. And Sambisa Forest is still there. Every day they say they take people to Sambisa Forest, Boko Haram, they do X, Y, Z in one environment. And we still talk about it. I mean, that to me is very, very... If anybody thinks that this country is doing well by security-wise, we're just deceiving ourselves. We're deceiving ourselves. But let me react to my brothers when they talked about senators. The 35 million thing, they are still not agreeing with that. But let me say this to you, sir. As a politician, demands are so high on these public officers, these politicians. If you find a senator, he has so many carry-ons. Everybody, you see, it's not the senator that is the problem. It is the people. Because when you place so much demand on the senator, the man now looks for how to make money. If every Nigerian understands that this senator is our senator, he has gone to work, and let him go and work, but you place such demands on him, there are times the man just finds a way. That is why I think, I may be wrong, that's why I think that some of these huge or humongous amount that say they receive is for them to service their various constituents. And
so are we saying elected officers are under pressure?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. For I know some of them who for Christmas, the queues in their houses can be as long from here to Ring Road, waiting for, as if the man has come, has brought big money to come and start to. But I'm not saying that is why they should kill people. But those who are killed, they want to be killed. Because if the politician calls you, when I was the president of the youth of Nigeria, I kept on telling my followers, if me, Agarese Idubo, chooses to become Nigerian president of Nigeria, and I think I need to engage some young persons or some old persons to carry gun on my behalf, to fight for me, I should bring my child in front.
To command.
To lead the people. If I don't have a child that is a male, can bring my brother or my nephew to lead. You cannot keep your children abroad and take innocent people who are very vulnerable. Why must you allow yourself to be a pawn on the chessboard? Why must you accept? I agree the level of poverty has made some of them to behave like that, but not at the expense of your life. Because nothing says to you that on this mission you return home alive. So why must you allow yourself to be used by persons who will jettison you at the end of the day? Because after the process, it needs to no more until maybe another election. So why must you go and put your life on the line for a man who will not think about you after he has achieved an objective? So for me, those who die in the process, I don't know if their souls are going to go to heaven, but wherever their souls go to, it's unfortunate because the man will not force you to go and die. You volunteer to go and die.
So it's a choice.
Yes, you volunteer to go and die, because definitely I just believe that any young person Maybe that comes to my brothers in there. Most of these young persons don't have future, and they think that for the now they must make money.
Maybe they don't have much to lose.
Yes, no, they have a lot to lose. They have a lot to lose. They have a lot to lose. But for the now, they want money. And how much is this money? I mean, I'm a politician. I'm a practitioner. So, very honestly, it's not the kind of money that anyone should go and die for. No, it's not. The man comes to you, maybe gives you 50,000 naira. You go and die. So for me, I think we need to get reconscientized. Every young person should understand that you should not allow yourself to be an instrument
to destruction.
For destruction. You should be a vessel of honor. You should pride yourself. You should put value on yourself. So the man let me tell you this, my brother. If they are coming to look for talks, would they see you like this now? Call it, come and talk. But they won't. They look at you and say, this is a material photography. So when a friend of mine is dressed the way you want to be addressed, they look at you, they look at your mien and say, look at this guy will be nice as a talk. They have debased you. They have debased you once they think you are going to be nice to be a talk. They have debased you already. So why would you devalue yourself and go and become a talk? When I was national president, I keep saying this. And if you observe, I'm sure he will know that, when there was the SDP and NRC, the National Youth Council of Nigeria, at that time, we fought against having youth wings in parties.
Okay.
There was no youth wing. We refused.
But that has returned to most of the parties.
Yeah, all the parties have it now. We refused. And we said, we don't want youth wings. Any of us is good enough to run any election. Yes. So don't call us youth wing and confine us to an area. And that's the problem. Most of the youth wings of parties are the talks. That's the talking arm of the party.
So it's a strategy.
Oh, it's the talking arm of the parties. So they just come and decide to do unnecessary. So for me, the use of this country, we must tell ourselves, why can't a youth be a president? Statistics have shown that 60% or 70% of Nigerian population are young persons.
Right. But that has also raised the definition of who a youth is.
Fine, it's subjective.
Okay.
Most clans have different definitions for most different definitions.
Who is a youth ideally in Nigeria, for example?
In Nigeria, the new youth policy says a youth is between age 15 now and 28.
Age 15 and 28.
That's the new. But when I was president in 92, it was between age 15 and 35. But the World Assembly of Youth says it's age 15 to 45. To 45. But in some communities, because you can only be 80 until you are a youth. But that is not even the matter now. But the active population of our country is made up of young persons.
Right.
So if every young voter, if we say we want to vote for X, who is 35 years old, and we say we believe in him,
yes,
let's go and do that. But when you keep complaining of bad leadership, you have helped to produce the bad leadership. Sarah Jubilee, okay, the woman, when I was the president, she got only one vote.
Yes. Somebody said she voted herself.
But she got only one vote. Right. And in that convention, there were 1,800 women.
The same women who were shouting,
yes,
25% of elective votes for women.
Yes. 1,800 women in that convention. And she got only one vote, whether it was her vote or somebody else's vote. I mean, so you can understand why these things don't work. We must tell ourselves that this is what we want, and we drive the process. You say you want to take the driver's seat. I've always not agreed with, the youth must take the driver's seat. You can't take a driver's seat without learning how to drive. You kill everybody. So to take a driver's seat, you must of course learn how to drive. So if you just go and bring a driver because you want the youth to take the lead, yes, and you are not prepared the youth for tomorrow. So I think what we should start to do from now is to start to engage our young people in positions of authority. Start to let them work with the older people. Start to learn the curves.
Mentoring.
Yes, mentoring. At a point they can take over. You don't just bring them out, you just left school, for instance. Just left, there must be experience. You can't just leave school and say you want to go and be. No, it doesn't add up. You just bring a young graduate from university and say, come and help. It cannot. It won't do well because you need a cognate experience. You must have done something before.
Right.
So you don't just bring somebody and say, because you want to engage youth, just bring people that no. You will run aground the establishment. So for me, I am an advocate of youth generation, but let them start to learn the curves so that at the end of the day, they would have been prepared for leadership.
Okay, I want to talk to you about recession. Nigeria is officially in recession now. You know, the last one we had was in 2016, when we still had Mrs. Kemi Adeosun as Minister of Finance in this country. Of course, that has gone with the wind now, historically speaking. Today is a different ballgame altogether, and we're saying this recession is on account of the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, there's inflation globally. On top of all that, we are told that population-wise, Nigeria is going to grow by about 3.4% every other year. In fact, by 2050, we're going to be 400 million, even though we are 206 already. So which means in 30 years, we are looking at a population of 400 million Nigerians. And a lot of persons are saying that we don't really have policies in this country for 10 years, for 20 years. So what we have essentially is just a bunch of stopgap measures combined with knee-jerk reactions to all of these situations that we are dealing with in this country. Going into 2021, what should change? Because it appears this oil money has become more of a distraction than a blessing for us in this country.
You mean the oil money?
Yes. Vis-a-vis the recession we are dealing with as a country.
Well, it's a fact that this oil money has become a problem. As if to say that there is no other product that we are living on before. That was cocoa in this country.
But they said that was before the as well, the scaling up of technology, that the issue of cocoa and groundnut pyramids won't answer the questions of the 21st century.
No,
that's not true.
That is not true. One, let me tell you. You look at the refinery, for instance. This country is a producing country. But today, as of today, this country is importing fuel from a country that produces cows. That refinery, we are the first set of refinery, petrochemical, 1977. At that time, we have about 10 substations with 50 kVA transformers. That time, after 5 years, there is this term, which is turnaround maintenance.
Maintenance, yes.
But we have Kaduna, we have Port Harcourt, and we have Warri. Which one is working? No. Now, the time around maintenance was on. Suddenly, the thing changed. Most of the equipment become obsolete. Then the thing came down. Now we cannot produce. We are now going to country that they are just, that it's not up to Lagos. They are to import fuel. It's very big error. Very big error. Because I can start going back. At that time, 1981, that I bought my first car, I bought it 4,000. And my fuel...
Was it a brand new car?
Yes, brand new car, Toyota Corona.
For 4,000?
Yeah, for 4,000. Chernobyl. And my fuel I bought that time, every month is 120 because my salary is 500. So 120 naira fuel my car for 30 days. And
then you pay your rent 50 naira.
And I pay my rent 50 naira. So, but you can look at the gap, 80, 81 to this time now. And it's going up. So I'm just looking at the future. What is going to be the future of our children? So the recession, they are just taking the recession down. The thing boils down to leadership. Unless there is, we are devaluing ourselves already. We are not devaluing ourselves. For us to go to a country that does not up to Lagos to import our fuel, where we have 3 refineries that are not working.
I understand we don't have 4 because there are 2 import courts, one in Warri, and then there's another one that's in Kaduna. And then there's also been the issue of, okay, a lot of persons have been pushing the argument, especially on social media, Twitter in particular, of how that, I mean, look at Dangote, for example. This is a privately owned, okay, even though it has gone public now, but it's not owned by government, it's private, I mean, ultimately. And look at what it's doing with its refinery in Nigeria, on the same soil, where you have 4 refineries that are not working. So people are now wondering what exactly is happening that we can't fix any of our 4 refineries. At the point we heard that some were working well, even though they were not performing at optimal capacity, but at least they were working, they were producing at all. But today, that doesn't seem to be the case. It's as if it's like a ground zero situation that we're dealing with. How do we look away from oil for a minute and see other opportunities in different sectors?
Yeah, to move from oil?
Even if we can't move altogether, at least let's look away for a minute.
We can't. No, listen to that. No, we can't.
Okay, let's get a reaction first. I'll come to Honorable Alex.
Yeah, we cannot for now. But maybe in future,
yes,
very shortly, we can.
Why can't we for now?
If we now reorganize, this thing still boils down to leadership.
Okay.
If the leadership, the thing belongs to the center, that is the federal government, if they can now reorient the other people, say, listen, there are other areas we can diversify to make money instead of this focusing on oil, then we can move forward.
Okay. I mean, we sure want to move forward, but we don't appear to be showing, to have that momentum to move forward. I will say, Dubo, you wanted to say something about moving from oil.
My Oga here, by the time he was talking about 500 naira salary, in 1981, the naira and the dollar, naira was superior
to the dollar.
Oh yes. $1 was 68 kobo. $1 was 68 kobo. $1 was less than 1 naira in 81, 82. $1 was less than 1 naira. Today, that same $1 is about 500 naira.
Yes.
So you can imagine the percentage of inflation. You can imagine, I don't know now whether it's a retrogressive action that we have allowed our currency to be so devalued. Everything is devalued in Nigeria. I know some countries that don't produce oil. They don't produce oil. They don't produce anything in agriculture. Just taxes. Just taxes. And they are surviving. In Nigeria, we have so much arable land. We have so much land. Even on these your tiles, if you put something here, that it will grow inside these tiles here in Nigeria. That's how fertile that God has blessed Nigeria, with very fertile land. That anything grows anywhere. Just throw a mango, whatever, seed anywhere. It will just come to look at it next month. It's already growing. So we can feed the world from Nigeria, and that will give us so much of it. You see, this oil thing, we don't fix oil prices. I hope you know that.
Of course.
So why are you depending on what you cannot fix? Somebody else, you produce, somebody will fix it. But if you produce food that is unique, that is only Nigeria that produces that kind of food, you fix the price.
Gives you competitive advantage.
Yes, you fix the price. You fix the price. You fix it. I keep sorrowing when I hear that Malaysia came to Nigeria to take some palm seeds.
And today they are champions.
Malaysia today is the world's largest producer of oil, palm oil. And from here, NIFO is like moribund. NIFO is there. So these are issues that let us get reconscientized. Let leadership be right. So much land in Nigeria where we can do many things. Where if we do all of those things, we talk about oil. Today oil is $90, today is $40,
yes.
Tomorrow is $30. Yes. You are doing a budget and you are saying the budget is hinged on if the price is this, if the price drops, budget is somersault. How long can you be depending on such situations?
And the benchmark cannot be dependable.
No.
And we keep, I know some countries, my brother. He mentioned that we import oil from somewhere. It's like when cocoa was the mainstay here. We'll take cocoa to London. They'll give us Ovaltine. Why wouldn't we have established, when the raw material is here, why wouldn't we have established companies that will use the cocoa as raw
expand
material?
The value chain.
As raw material. Now we'll take the cocoa to London. They will go and use the cocoa and send us Ovaltine. We'll buy.
I think they send us chocolate from Switzerland.
We take oil from here. They'll go and refine. We'll take oil from here. So you see, there are too many things that we need to reorder our leadership. Too many things. You talk about that Dangote refinery, for instance. Dangote, whether it's gone public by way of shareholding, it is still a private organization.
Apparently.
And the man, somebody said to me when I was growing up that government has no business in business. Government has no business in business. Let the businesses run as private concerns. Because the interest will be, there will be no social, there'll be no social, there'll be no social consideration. You do it as business. Strictly business. And Nigerians, I'll say this to you, my brother, Nigerians are willing to pay for any kind of service provided it has value to their lives. Now we don't, now look at, is it BDC, they call it in Edo State now. Some of us run our plants at costs that are very humongous, you know. I run my plant every day with an average of 3,000 naira, you know. Well, if I do that every day, 1 month, that's about 90,000 naira.
Yeah.
But if I have constant light, I don't pay more than 15, 20,000 naira. So if they come and say, okay, fine, pay 40,000 naira, pay 40,000 naira, and you get this light on a regular basis, of course people will pay. People will pay. Because the cost of privately running your plant is such that you can save a lot of money if power is constant here.
I want to take you up on something because we're fast run out of time. The issue of education,
Yes.
which you already talked about in passing. He has made continual reference to the need to have the right leadership in place. But people begin to build capacity right from that point where they are trained. Of course, that's basically the reason we have universities in place, even though now we hear some schools in Canada and across North America are now referring to our universities as they call them certificate awarding institutions, that they are not universities in the core sense of that word. Maybe we can have that conversation some other time. But how do we deal with all of the problems associated with our university system, our education system in general? Today there's strike, tomorrow we're back to school. As is already even saying that if between now and February certain things are not done, they won't hesitate to go back to strike. Of course, we understand that by the side, other unions within the university system are also now agitating because they are saying that ASU is getting the so-called lion's share of the 40 billion we hear that the federal government is making available to the universities. How do we deal with all of these issues and be serious about education in this country? Because we obviously do not look serious.
No, is it, maybe like you said, for another time. The quality of our certificates. Most times, one starts to feel a little bit uncomfortable. But again, how can you produce a strong certificate from a system that, again, is not a stable system? So by the time they eventually resume school, there will be this wishy-washy, hush-hush
yes.
thing to produce certificates, and they will just rush everybody up. I have spoken to very many university graduates. I've engaged them in some topical discussion and issues. Even graduates of a particular field, engage him or her.
In that field?
Yeah, you will find out that she's so bereft of ideas. And as a graduate of one that's discipline. So we must get ourselves together. So there must be persons who have gone through school and school has gone through them. So at the end of the day, you can see a man who holds a BSc is a man who is worthy in learning. So that the man must have been able to say to himself, I can defend this certificate.
Yeah.
And I just pray that ASU will not resume strike. But I also hear that the students have said if they resume strike, they will also strike them. The students are saying enough of this strike. Because if they have, I won't say lost, now they've almost lost 1 year. They've almost lost 1 year since March.
So the academic calendar has obviously been altered.
And the students are saying, it should not be, end strike, it will be end ASU. Maybe, yes, because they would now come, because the students are tired of staying at home. And I say this to you, my brother, the criminality we're talking about, because when you find students who are now idle, they have been at home for 9 months doing nothing. Of course, they must put on their thinking caps and be doing some kind of things which naturally they wouldn't have done.
Right.
So the system is forcing them to do some things which naturally they maybe wouldn't have done. So for me, I think government should be not just conscious of the education, now conscious of the social effect of keeping students at home. It's a very serious matter.
Right.
So that's what I think government should look at.
Okay, let's wrap it up now, gentlemen. Engineer K, 2021 is just a matter of hours away.
Yes.
All right. You've talked about leadership time and again, but 2021 is going to be perhaps a litmus test as to whether we have learned anything from 2020 at all. What will be your last word?
Well, in the first case, let me wish the Adolais Happy New Year in advance. The ITV staffs Happy New Year in advance. There is still hope.
Okay.
We all hope it's not lost. But the way I'm looking at 2021 is just few hours to this time.
Right.
And what we experienced 2020 now, I am not seeing any change, any atom of change in any of them. You see the COVID-19, you see the NSAS, because most of the agitators concerning this protest are not being addressed for now.
So it obviously means we have more work to do.
Serious one.
Okay.
Unless the government put something strong in structure now, 2021, we pray to God shall be better than 2020. But I'm not seeing that thing inside.
Okay, I think we can only watch and see, as I say. Let's believe that government also, on this level, understands the magnitude of the issues that we're dealing with in this country, and then is able to provide the requisite leadership to be able to address all of these issues. Gentlemen, Engineer Mike Eke, thank you for coming. We appreciate your time and your thoughts on this program this morning. We also want to appreciate Honorable Agarese Dubo. Thank you so much for coming.
What's that? Yes, I want to compassionately appeal to our wait-and-see governor. There are some areas which they are saying term demonic structure roads.
Okay.
Like Owina, off Aboma, off Okewa Road, Second Cemetery, and Eruse. Those areas and those roads, they are parallel to each other.
Okay.
And those places have been tagged demonic. Why? Because maybe the juju or the mami water they go from teacher's house has relocated to those areas. We don't know.
Okay, so you think...
so I'm appealing to the governor. Use this video to appeal to the governor.
To swing into action regarding those roads. Okay. I'm sure even...
But the governor will. I mean, by the time by end of January, there are a lot of things he's put on ground. I'm sure that all these distractions he's having now, they'll soon be over.
Yes.
Okay, I want to believe Honorable Agarese Dubo is speaking as an insider.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate the thoughts that you brought on our discussion this morning. We're taking a quick break now. We're back shortly to have an interview. Stay with me.